Welcome students, welcome to the video lecture in power system planning. The course is basically for our 6th semester students. So uh, we are starting new unit, that is unit number 5 on transmission and distribution planning. This is the link for my Google Classroom, and there is a code that you can join our Google Classroom. Myself, Mr. Nitish Kataria, Assistant Professor, NPIU. Email ID and WhatsApp number is given here. So let's start transmission planning. So into transmission planning, we will study objective of transmission planning, what is network reconfiguration, system and load point indices, data required for complete system reliability. So what are the objective of transmission planning? The primary purpose of transmission planning is to determine the lowest possible cost. So ट्रांसमिशन प्लानिंग इसलिए करी जा रही है ताकि ट्रांसमिशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे लोएस्ट पॉसिबल कॉस्ट खर्च हो, जो भी इक्विपमेंट्स, द कंडक्टर्स, टावर्स, ऑल्सो द राइट ऑफ वे रिक्वायरमेंट्स फॉर ट्रांसमिशन प्लान फॉर constructing a transmission line must be optimized. Transmission and substation addition. Okay, so this is done under transmission planning because the transmission line which is being constructed needs substation at different locations, so which will cover under the transmission system planning, which render the transmission network to be able to supply the loads. Okay, so load can be connected at transmission level also, which are industrial loads, so which render the transmission or sub transmission level the loads are connected. So supply of loads can be facilitated through these substations and wholesale power market with a given criteria. So transmission planning is done, so the generation or the generated energy can be successfully transferred through a transmission medium, that is a transmission line, to the delivery points through distribution centers using a power market. So basically we are having different issues and factors that are in transmission planning study. To get detailed studies for the following points described below. Okay, number one is planning period. So whenever transmission planning करी जाएगी, there will be a planning period. Whenever the transmission is planned, so the forecasted load must be required so that the capacity of the transmission line will be projected. Then the generation resources, their location and type, and what kind of transmission line is needed. Like if the distance is very long, then we require a HVDC line instead of AC transmission line. Then we look after economics, and there are some financial constraints that makes the project feasible. Then we have right of way limitations. So right of way is very important while doing transmission planning. Right of way is the distance, is the addition of distance on both the sides of a transmission tower when measured from center. Then we have new and emerging technologies which must be included in the new transmission lines. Then we have uncertainties and risk, service reliability, and cost considerations. So these are some of the issues and factors that are covered under transmission planning. So planning of the transmission system involves selection of proper voltage levels, power flow requirements, then system stability, very important, voltage and reactive power flow, conductor selection, losses, insulation level, type of structure, right of way. So these are some of the factors we will see one by one. Number one is selection of voltage. So high voltages are preferred to transfer bulk power over the long distance. Why it is so? Because of the reduced losses. Feasibility means economical and ecological advantage of generating power near the fuel sources instead of load centers. So generation हमेशा fuel centers या resources के पास होगा, and load centers are away from these generating units. So there is a requirement that needs transmission into picture. So transmission lines are needed to transfer bulk or huge amount of power from these generating sources to our load centers. So as per IS standard 2026, line to line voltage levels adopted in India are 132 kV. These are transmission voltage levels. Okay, so number one is 132 kV, which is having a maximum operating value of 145 kV. Then we have 220 kV. You have seen most of the 220 kV lines, which is having a maximum operating voltage of 245 kV. Then you have 400 kV line, which is having a maximum operating voltage of 420 kV. And above 220 kV means at a level that is called as extra high voltage level, 345 kV. So at 345 kV means we have 400 kV level, which is a extra high voltage level, and above 765 kV we are having the voltage level called as ultra high voltage level. So 765 kV, 1150 kV are ultra high voltage levels. So power handling capacity of a line is defined by 0.5 V square divided by X into D. Okay, this formula comes as 0.5, which means that it is sine 30. So maximum consideration for power angle is 30 degree. V square, we have assumed that the receiving end and sending end voltage magnitudes are nearly equal. So V square sine delta divided by X. The same formula you have studied in your elementary power system classes. Only the figure have changed right now, as sine 30 will become 0.5 V square divided by X into D. So X is the reactance in ohms per kilometer and D is the total distance. So when reactance multiplied by D, it gives you total reactance up to that length of the line. Okay, and PL is the power losses, 53.6 R by X. So moving forward, there is a benefit of AC transmission, that electric power transferred by overhead AC system is given by SIL. So we can transfer huge amount of power on a high voltage AC transmission line. Like if we are having a voltage line of 400 kV, then putting in this formula of surge impedance level for three phase, that is kV line to line square divided by Z0. Z0 is the surge impedance, which is considered as 250 ohms for a overhead transmission line and 60 ohms for a underground cable. So for voltage level of 400 kV, you are having a power that can be transferred through the transmission line at 400 kV voltage level is 640 megawatt. Okay, and if you see at 765 kV, when the voltage level is doubled, the power delivery is 4 times, approximately 4 times here. So once a 765 kV line can carry nearly 4 times the power carried by 400 kV line. Okay, and one 1200 kV line can carry more than twice that of a 765 kV. तो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कि 400 kV की लाइन अगर 640 मेगावाट ट्रांसफर करती है, तो अगर वोल्टेज लेवल डबल होता है, द पावर goes to 4 times. If voltage level is 3 times, means 1200 kV from 400 to 1200, then it is equal to 5760, यानी कि 8 times हो जाएगा power delivery. This is a graph showing the development of voltage levels from different decades. So as you can see, after 1950, the voltages are around 220 kV approximately, and after 1960s you can see the voltage level goes up to extra high voltage levels, and the research being carried out since 1990 on 1200 kV voltage level. With increase in voltage levels beyond 400 kV, AC extra high voltage transmission has certain disadvantages. Okay, so there are certain disadvantages like we have corona losses. On a AC line we are having corona losses because of the gradient, voltage gradient on the conductor surface. Then we have insulation requirements for conductors which are high. Radio interference exist. Heavy supporting structures required. Okay, so sometimes line will be double circuit, so we are having a lot of conductors required and thus the supporting structures. Transmission with extra high voltage and for long distance HVDC line is economical. So here if the distance increases beyond a certain value, then HVDC system are most economical. So the value is 600 kilometers approximately, and these are the advantages for HVDC transmission, that there is no skin effect. Second, lower transmission losses. Then we have voltage regulation which is better in a HVDC line. Extra high voltage AC lines are loaded less than 80% of the normal load. So this is one of the important factor, that extra high voltage AC line are loaded up to only 80% of their normal load. So voltage regulation will be better in HVDC, low corona and thus less radio interference. Switching surge level are lesser in DC compared to AC, less insulation requirements. DC line does not require an reactive power compensation. AC have reactive power, so here we don't require any reactive power compensation. The line is economical above 600 km and also reliable. So in the second diagram you can see that the investment cost for a AC line is less up to some point, okay, up to a break-even distance, that is around 600 km, while the DC line initial cost is very high, but after 600 km the total cost of DC line will go down than the AC line. So AC line is having a lot of problems, while a DC line with less problem and less cost can give you better result. Most of the lines constructed in India are DC lines which are of long distance. So we'll cover the next topics in our upcoming video. Till then, you can see what we have seen is that the objective of the transmission, that it must lower the cost of the transmission system, and it will require substations. So addition of substation, addition of transmission line, and thus reducing the cost is the primary objectives of the transmission planning. Then we have seen issues and factors. After that, these are the important points that must be considered under transmission system planning. So you must know all these points. So till then, stay tuned and thank you very much.